In Chattanooga, Tennessee, David Toulis.
There was a sharp contrast yesterday in two parts of the city council meeting. The first part was a glad, harumphing approval by all members of the city council in a roll call vote in which they all, with exceeding joy, it seemed, approved of the nomination for Phil Noblett to be the new city attorney, replacing Wade Hinton. And the second part of the meeting was a contrast to this high regard expressed for Phil Noblett, long an expert in municipal law, has been in court for 30 plus years, in practicing law for 30 plus years in Tennessee and other states. The contrast between the kind words said to him, for example, by Mike McMahon, who was a city attorney and who does quite a bit of traveling now that he's retired, and saying just the grandest, highest things, the kind of things you'd heard said, and in the form that you'd hear said at a meeting of this kind, at an event of that kind, very officious, proper, sort of Ciceronian sentences. The second part of the meeting was a clash between Marie Mott, whom you can hear tomorrow. You can hear tomorrow Marie Mott on Hot News Talk Radio, New York Radio 92.7 at 11 o'clock, and a clash between Marie Mott, broadcast journalist, and Phil Noblett. And the matter of dispute arose from an oration that Marie gave in the 5 minutes allotted to each member of the public who wishes to address the council, an oration that asked the council members their state of mind and their state of heart regarding three instances of abusive practices by Mayor Andy Burke's police department. And that would be the Avery Gray daughter arrest, the Diana Watt second car dragging arrest, and the report from the Chattanooga Times Free Press, not followed up past two reports in the newspaper regarding the claims of a rape by a Chattanooga police officer in uniform, more than one among two women, two or more complainants. A matter that Chief McCullough, one of the mid-level chiefs, said to the city council is under investigation and for which comment cannot be made. So Marie made comment about these three instances of you might say police outbreaks, right? Police violence, sort of gangland style activity by city employees who are part of the Tennessee retirement system, right? People who are on the payroll and whom are bound by state law, to conform to the rights of the people and public policy at every point where those don't conflict, right? If there's a conflict, then the rights of the people should always be given paramount. The conflict between the city attorney and the journalist, which spilled past the 5-minute time slot, and across the rows of seats as Marie went back to take her seat, was over an open records request visit in mid-July. This is David Toulis, and you can read this story at Nuganomics.com. Nuganomics.com, the platform that is for you, the man, the woman who matters, right? It's for you. It's written for you. It goes into often very deep topics that are hidden from the rest of the world, essentially, apparently hidden from the rest of the world, though the law is public document. And I do quite a bit of writing about the law, which again is supposed to be open and is known to everyone. Presumptively, everyone knows all the law that applies to any one person, and it's there in public. It's online at LexisNexis. I write about the law. A dispute over the law pertaining to open records and the exceptions in the open records system. Don't forget, when the Tennessee legislature wrote an open records statute and to replace your common law rights to investigate the doings of government through your agents, meaning me, or personally, then what happened is it created a murky government, right? And that's what happened with the open law, the open record statutes, the creation of murk by the legislature with the full announced intention of making government open, right? To write a statute on anything closes the venue. What happens is when you have an articulation of rights and so on, and exceedingly long list of exceptions and exemptions, you have a minefield and a very complex document indeed. If only modern men, their modern humanists would follow the biblical model, where there's very little said. Right, in the Bible, there are very, very few laws at all. They're all moral, and if there is no moral question, there is liberty. That is what the Bible concept is. That's what Christendom proposes. As if people would just recognize that in that sort of scheme, in a biblical scheme of government and the role of the magistrate, there is incredible liberty. And we have statutes and we have long exceptions. And Marie went into the city attorney's office with me as running the video for her, and demanded to see the personnel record of Officer Wright. And the man, I've forgotten his first name, he is the officer who arrested Avery Gray's daughter, in a video that Avery Gray this morning tells me has been seen 5 million times. It's just an unbelievable number. We're talking about Marie Mott's efforts to find out about the officer who put Avery Gray's daughter through this ordeal. Avery Gray's daughter is still suffering injuries to her wrist from the handcuffing, and the mother is explaining here in an interview this morning in front of City Hall about the allegiance officers have among themselves and how there's respect. If one officer arrests someone, even if it's bad, it has to go forward. There is no way to undo it.
One of the female, she was, but
This is David Toulis, and that is Avery Gray, the mother of a young woman who was arrested, dragged from her car by an officer who was assisting the operators of M&R Motors in Rossville to recover a car that was the collateral for a loan, a Lexus, a very leaky Lexus that Avery Gray was using that day. And so there are questions about this arrest, and Avery Gray promises. I ask you, listen to her voice and ask yourself, is this a woman who's going to make a complaint administratively to Internal Affairs? Well, I think probably so. That would be, of course, her daughter, who was the one arrested. And Marie Mott is talking about this case. Okay, this is the case, and that's the mother, the outraged mother who posted the video online that has received at least 5 million views now here in Chattanooga, making Chattanooga the river city, right? A popular city, a blight on our name, a blight on our reputation, because there are people who simply can't reason about the relation between city government employees serving Mayor Andy Burke, the mayor of our city, and the people of our city. These are executive actions. Okay, this is these people working in the police department, sucking $73 million a year from the taxpayers, are serving the mayor. They serve an executive function. They are a kind of occupational force. They're a military organization, and we are to be afraid of them. It is by design. We are to be afraid of them. If you're afraid of police, that's not a mistake. Okay, it's not just you. That is by design. That is by plan. And so community policing, as we've seen, 20-year-old theory has done little to ameliorate, to soften the calculating hard edges of that organization and its imposition upon life in Chattanooga. Avery Gray indicates she plans to make an administrative claim, and she thinks she's the victim and her family is the victim of police abuse, a tort action. David Toulis, what's on your mind? Caller, thanks for ringing me. What is on your mind? This is David Toulis, and we are reminding you the number to call is 800-8949, 800-8949. That's 800-8949. So the question is over the law. Marie Mott was demanding to see access to officer rights record, and she has the right to do that. And she insisted that she had that right. And Phil Noblett, who was in our video, not quite in good focus, I'm afraid to say, but he was in our video saying, well, the lady Demetris, who handles open records requests, is not here, and we can't help you. Well, he should have said, well, ma'am, you have a right under the statute to inspect a record, and I'm ordering that it be redacted now while you wait. And he should have said, well, ma'am, you have to go back to the personnel department since you're going to do it in person, and you're asking for a visual inspection. You have to go back across the street, and I will be giving an order right now for that file to be reviewed and redacted of personal information. So private information, bank account, your bank account direct deposit number, your SSN, your home phone, your home address. These kinds of things are not part of the public record of Officer Wright, and so Marie was demanding to see that, and she was right to assert her rights. And this is what she is as a tremendous broadcast journalist here at Nooga Radio. We are wanting her to assert her rights on your behalf. Right? She works for you at 11 o'clock every weekday here on Nooga Radio. She works for you, and so you don't have to make these demands. Let her make them for you, as a broadcast journalist demanding her rights. So the Phil Noblett should have said, well, ma'am, you have a right. And the thing is, though, when we went back across City Hall to go up to the personnel director to make our own inquiries, again, in person, to demand the record to see, we were essentially kicked out of City Hall. And Marie Mott made that point. If you go to Nooganomics.com, you can read the story, and the headline is Tempers Flare. Well, I'm not going to tell you what the headline is. You just have to see it for yourself. But Marie Mott rips the city attorney, accusing him of being a liar, and he demands to be not interrupted. He demands that she is mistaken, and he is correcting her narrative from the dais there at City Council. What really bothers me about the way City Council runs its affair is that its show is that an attorney who is not a voting member is at the center of the body. That can't be. It simply can't be that the city attorney is at the middle of the organization of the legislative branch of city government. Why? Well, look, the city council member represents you, right? The lawyer is simply there for their convenience. He can't possibly be sitting in the middle. If anything, he should be sitting at one end or the other. He should be sitting in the seat now held by either Carol Burrs on the left side or Erskine Oglesby on the right side. That's the position, I would say, of least importance. And though, of course, someone has to sit at the end. But if you're in the middle, you are at the center, okay? And the city attorney should not be at the center. He simply should not be. He is a member of the bar. He is a member of the legislative branch of state government as a servant of the court, as a licensed practicing attorney. He is a convenience at best, not at the center. But anyway, there he is at the center, glaring down after all the accolades were given to him by his friends and former city attorney Mike McMahon and others, glaring down at Marie Mott, the journalist, a woman of color, as it happens to be. Not that that's hugely important, but it is worth noting. And they are calling each other names. She, him, a liar, and he, her, mistaken and wrong, and not to be. She is not to interrupt him in speaking, and she is making erroneous statements. I'm not sure all that he said, but that was essentially what the city attorney, with everyone taking that new position with everyone's approval, was saying to Marie Mott. David Toulis, and I'm going to be at the Starbucks at 10 North tomorrow. Join me at the Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore tomorrow. It's a great event. It's going to be every Thursday now. It's the Gridiron Gang Show. It's live at Starbucks. Keon Rose and Nick LaFew and others will be broadcasting live from the Starbucks Thursday night. And they'll be talking about what? Guess what? High school football. Stop by. You, my listener, stop by, participate in the discussions, ask questions, and enjoy the specials at the Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. That's each Thursday evening from 7 to 9 p.m. The Gridiron Gang Show at Starbucks. The Gridiron Gang Show at Starbucks on the North Shore. And this is David Toulis, the host of The Bowtie. And I have bad news, very bad news today. Well, maybe if you're a woman, it's good news that David got out of the house with the correct bow tie. I went up with a tie that my daughter Abigail had modified with some childish green markings on the wings, on either wing, and Jeanette said, "Absolutely not, absolutely not." She was not even dressed, and I was leaving for an early meeting this morning, and I was late, but I thanked her. I said, Jeanette, you're right. I was trying to be very gracious and loving. And so with that final no, I put on my old standby, my red bow tie that works with everything, but doesn't lie flat. It's always kind of crooked. It kind of rumples underneath it. It is kind of a dissenting bow tie. It's not orderly. It's not very fashionable. And it's getting a little warm, but I'm wearing that today with my Navy jacket. The number is 800-8949. 800-8949. Make sure you go to our sponsor. And that is Nuganomics.com. And listen, hey, tonight, here's a plan. Here's a plan for tonight. Why don't you have dinner at the Olive Branch Mediterranean Deli and Market in East Ridge, and then mosey on over for coffee afterwards at the Starbucks at 7. How does that sound for a plan? The dish today, the special today, is chicken piccata and meatballs and spaghetti, and then also lentil stew. That's at Olive Branch Mediterranean Deli and Market. Now, I'm excited about what we have to offer today, and I want to just say a quick word for the idea of the hardship driver's license. Now, my argument is that we have a constitutional right to travel. However, there is an oppression afoot affecting thousands of people right here in Hamilton County. There are thousands of people who have their driver's licenses out of order. And there are thousands of people who, every time they get on the road to go somewhere to fulfill a human necessity or to exercise a right, are subject to arrest and new criminal charges under Title 55. However, there is a hardship license, and I'm going to be publishing the next few days something about that, and I want to let you know that you can get that. It lasts for a year, and the grounds for a hardship, right? You get a license under hardship grounds for employment, school, religious worship, participation in recovery court, serious illness, or other reasons or destinations as determined by the court. Think about that. If you're stuck in a bad place, there are remedies. David Toulis.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital